The security desk went quiet. Badge readers in the lobby were dark. The queue at the front desk doubled, and nobody could tell the receptionist who to call. Vendors were on hold, managers started pacing, and hours slipped by while people looked at each other.
Welcome to Built, Wired, and Secured. I'm Alex Morgan. Today we're talking about that exact moment, when a small failure becomes everyone's problem because ownership is unclear. Michael Harrington's with me to walk through a simple, living ownership map that cuts that time down dramatically. Michael, great to have you.
Thanks, Alex. Right away, what breaks if this goes down? That's always my first question. In that lobby scenario, the downstream impact is immediate. People can't get in, tenant operations stall, and the front desk becomes a crisis hub. I've seen that turn a fix from a planned 90 minutes into 48 hours of chaos.
48 hours? Wow, that's the kind of metric that makes owners sit up. Tell me, what usually causes those hours to add up? Where do teams get stuck?
It's a mix, but it boils down to 3 practical failure modes. First, undocumented handoffs. Project work closes with an email or a handshake and nobody updates the system. Second, responsibilities that live in the gray area between facilities and IT. Power, cabling, edge devices. Third, changes that never make it back into documentation. Vendor swaps, panel moves, tenant installs. Those blind spots show up fast during an incident.
Wait, undocumented handoffs? Can you give a quick example so listeners can picture it?
Sure. A card reader added during renovations. Installer wires it, assumes facilities will cover power. Facilities thinks IT will own the network side. No entry goes into the asset register. When it fails, each team says not my scope, and the vendor's contract isn't easy to find. That back and forth costs time and credibility.
Right. Tenants don't care about scopes. They want to log in and get to work. So you argue against over-engineering ownership spreadsheets, correct? I'm not sure I buy that. Some clients ask for port-level maps. Isn't there a risk a coarse approach misses something important?
Good push. Here's my view. Excessive granularity creates a maintenance problem. A 500-column spreadsheet that's never updated is worse than a short, accurate map. That said, if you have a specific reason to map down to ports, do it for those high-risk assets. Practical tiers are the trick. Critical service owners, system owners, and vendor contacts. Ask who responds in the first hour and who owns remediation and capital replacement. That keeps effort aligned with risk.
So tiers, not tyranny. I like that. For teams that want to start small, what's the minimum viable map you recommend?
Keep it to essentials. 1, asset identity, what it is and where it sits. 2, owner, team and primary contact for first response. 3, escalation, who steps in if the primary can't fix it within the documented window. Add a short vendor note if it's outsourced. That's it. Those fields answer the 3 questions people ask first in an outage. What, who, and who next?
Give me that in a concrete badge reader example. Fast.
Asset, lobby badge reader, ID and rack location. Owner, security team, primary contact with cell and on-call rotation. Escalation, network team after 30 minutes for link issues. Vendor for hardware after 90 minutes. Note, POE from switch 3B and vendor SLA is a 4-hour truck roll. With those 3 lines, the front desk knows who to call and vendors know their windows.
That 4-hour truck roll detail really helps operationalize escalation. How do you recommend teams choose those timing windows? Fixed across the site or tiered by criticality?
Tier them. Life safety and access control get tighter windows. Digital signage or a non-critical display can be wider. Document windows that match tenant impact and contract constraints, and put them in the map so expectations are explicit during an incident.
Okay, now the real cultural snag. Keeping the map current. Nobody wants another admin job. What's the lean way to make this? So make it part of the rhythm, not a separate chore. I can already hear people saying this will just be ignored. Any enforcement tips?
Visibility and accountability. Keep a one-page view for critical systems and a deeper register for less used details. Tie ownership to incident reviews and capital planning. If an owner repeatedly misses updates, that shows up in the next review. Make the consequence real. Missing updates affect budget prioritization. Accountability makes documentation live.
Let's ground this with 2 short stories. One win, one where things went sideways.
When a suburban office building created a 1-page critical asset map for access control, HVAC cores, and network. An HVAC controller failed on a Friday afternoon. The team had owner and vendor right away, and the repair went from 48 hours to under 3 hours. Tenants barely noticed. Caution. A healthcare campus had a huge register that looked perfect on paper, but wasn't updated. Teams trusted it during a failure and missed a recent vendor change. False confidence cost them 8 hours of downtime.
Those outcomes are stark. Before we close, give listeners 3 starter actions they can do this week. Short and actionable.
1. Run a 30-minute sweep with facilities, IT, and security to list the top 20 critical assets and assign owners. 2. For each of those assets, add an escalation window and a vendor contact. Keep entries to a sentence. 3. Add a 15-minute quarterly ownership review to your change control meeting. Those 3 moves create clarity fast without heavy lift.
And what should teams avoid as they get started?
Don't over-engineer. Skip exhaustive fields you won't update. Don't let ownership be a dodge. If teams resist, use escalation tied to incident playbooks. And never rely solely on memory. Document the critical few and make that document unavoidable.
We've put a 1-page ownership map template on the show site to help folks run that first 30-minute sweep. Download it, run the sweep with your teams, and tell us what you learned. Short note or a question. We'll feature practical examples on future episodes.
If you hit resistance, remember, make the map visible, keep it small, and link it to outcomes. Tenants notice faster fixes, and operations becomes less reactive. That momentum builds support for the work.
That wraps up our time. Today we dropped into a failing moment, then walked through a simple living ownership map that cuts outage time, reduces tenant disputes, and makes capital planning clearer. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Built to last, wired with intention, secured for the real world.